When we confront the death of a loved one, we become conscious of time's steady flow, and we plead, as did the psalmist of old, Limnot Yamenu Ken Hoda V'navi Levav Chochma. So teach us to number our days, that we may get us a heart of wisdom. And yet how can one number one's days wisely? Is a simple total of the days we spend in the world really significant? There are people who live their lives whose years well exceed the proverbial 70, and yet when they pass away, only a death notice in the newspaper serves to let the world know that this individual lived. No, it is not simply the number of days that one lives that is significant. Significance lies rather in the use that one makes of the hours granted one. It is to experience what life has to offer, both its sorrows and its joys, its frustrations and its accomplishments. To become deeply involved in the lives of others, to give freely of one's love and affection, to feel oneself loved and appreciated is to live wisely. Then when one's hour has come, one has left behind her a legacy of memories to be treasured by children, grandchildren, honored by family and friends. When one has lived a life such as this, one can be grateful that God has granted one a heart of wisdom so that one might fill one's days with significance. Marilyn Freeman was blessed with a heart of wisdom, and her life had great significance to her family, her friends, virtually to everyone she met. Fear not death, we are all destined to die. We share it with all who ever lived, with all who ever will be. Bewail the dead, hide not your grief. Do not restrain your mourning, but remember that continuing sorrow is worse than death. When the dead are at rest, let their memory rest, and be consoled when the soul departs. Death is better than a life of pain, and eternal rest better than constant sickness. Seek not to understand what is too difficult. Search not for what is hidden. Be not overoccupied with what is beyond you, for you have been shown more than you can understand. There are 3 crowns our sages taught: the crown of Torah, the crown of priesthood, and the crown of royalty. But the crown of a good name excels them all. Blessed is the person who lives with a good name and departs this world with a good name. Of such a person did the Bible say, a good name is to be treasured above precious oil. Wealth, like health, may pass away, but a good name can live on forever. It can adorn a person throughout life. It can be bequeathed as a precious inheritance, conferring honor on family and friends, inspiring and challenging those who carry on. Therefore our ancient sages taught, the righteous need no monuments. Their good deeds are their memorials. The earth of the grave does not cover them. The hand of time does not erase them. The kindnesses they have shown, the love they have given, remain in everlasting remembrance. Their achievements are more lasting than granite. Their devotion is an enduring legacy. Cancer is so limited. It cannot cripple love. It cannot shatter hope. It cannot corrode faith. It cannot eat away peace. It cannot destroy confidence, nor can it kill friendship. It cannot silence courage nor invade the soul. It cannot reduce eternal life nor quench the spirit. Marilyn gave all of us so much love, and we loved her so much in return. She lived with hope and faith and was cloaked in strength and courage. She exuded confidence and extended friendship to everyone she met. She had an indomitable spirit. A beautiful soul was she. As she now has been given the gift of eternal life, may we who miss her so dearly be quieted and comforted with a sense of peace. God knows our every need and our pain, but above all, wants us to have and to keep our hope and peace. A daughter grieves for her mother. A unique thing, this mother-daughter relationship. When the daughter is a child, the mother is all-powerful, all-loving, all-giving, all-coaxing, all-punishing, all-rewarding. The mother nurtures the daughter with all means of sustenance. The mother is always there to tend to the skinned knees and elbows, the skinned ego, and later the skinned heart. He wasn't for you, is her bandage. As the daughter grows, the mother becomes a sister, a friend. She is there for the happy times. She is the happy times. The mother's youth surfaces with her grandchildren as she watches them grow and nourishes them. Mother is helpmate to daughter. Tragedy. Mother is all consoling. Mother is there for daughter. The daughter becomes ill. Mother is there for daughter too. A unique thing, this mother-daughter relationship. And then the mother becomes ill. Daughter is there for mother. Who is the mother now? Who is the daughter? The daughter is all loving, all giving. She is there for the mother. Thoughts of childhood race through her mind. Why does it have to be like this? A unique thing, this mother-daughter relationship. And then the mother dies. The daughter experiences shock and disbelief, or relief that there is no more suffering. And then comes an overwhelming sadness. The daughter realizes that her creator, her nurturer, her sister, her friend is gone forever. She tries to grasp the life that was her mother's and hers. It is gone. Her happy memories will soon dispel the grief. But today, a daughter grieves for her mother. Today, 3 daughters grieve for their mother. A unique thing, that mother-daughter relationship. It's a poem by Robert Nathan called Now Blue October. Now blue October, smoky in the sun, must end the long, sweet summer of the heart. The last brief visit of the birds is done. They sing the autumn songs before they part. Listen how lovely, there's the thrush we heard. When June was small with roses and the bending blossom of branches covered nest and bird, singing the summer in, summer unending. Give me your hand once more before the night. See how the meadows darken with the frost. How fades the green that was the summer's light. Beauty is only altered, never lost. And love, before the cold November rain, will make its summer in the heart again. It was Ralph Waldo Emerson who wrote, "To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden path, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded." Esaenai el heharim me'ayin yavo Ezri mein Adonai Osei Shamayim Vaaretz. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian. Adonai is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. Adonai will guard your going and coming, now and forever. Me'ata ve'ad olam. Adonai roi lo echsar, binotesha yarbitzeni, al me minuchot yanachaleni nafshi shovev, yancheni v'magle tzedek lema'an shemo, gam ki elech begeit salmavet, lo irara ki ata imadi, shivtecha mishantecha, hema yanachamuni, ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged zororai, deshanta v'shemen roshi kosir vaya, ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yamei chayai, V'shavti b'veit Adonai, l'orech yamim. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. Our angels spend much of their time sleeping. In their dreams they tear down the new houses by the sea, and build old ones in their place. No matter how long they may sleep, 100, 200 years, 10 centuries is not too much. The first to wake up takes the torch that has been handed down, adds a drop of oil to the lamp, blesses the eternal light, and then recalls the name of every other angel, and one by one as they are remembered, they wake up. For them, as for us, there is nothing more beautiful than memory. Indeed, we have gathered this day to remember. We remember Marilyn's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. We will never forget her companionship that we shared along life's path. We will always have in our heart the gifts of her mind and spirit that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God who bestowed upon human beings the gift of memory. Remember me when flowers bloom early in the spring. Remember me on sunny days in the fun that summer brings. Remember me in the fall as you walk through leaves of gold. And remember me in the wintertime in the stories that are told. But most of all, remember each day right from the start. I will be forever near, for I live within your heart. Let us now take a moment for silent prayer as we remember the good that Marilyn did in this world and the impact that she had on each of our lives. Let us now take a moment to remember. Say shalom bimroma. Let's join together. Say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Say shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. We see the autumn leaves as they fall to the ground at this season. As each leaf descends, we feel a sense of sadness and gratitude. Sadness because we must say goodbye, and soon the trees will be bare. Winter will be upon us. But we also experience gratitude as we contemplate how much pleasure we enjoyed when the leaves were so organically a part of the tree. And now, even as the leaf dies, it will nurture the soil, ensuring its fertility next spring and the blossoms that will inevitably ensue. On Friday, we each lost a precious leaf from our tree of life. Marilyn Freeman, such a dear, sweet soul who touched and influenced so many lives. I only knew her very briefly when I officiated at her mother Florence's funeral, but even in the few moments that we interacted, I sensed an aura, an energy, that indomitable spirit of which her family so frequently mentioned. And we realize that the winter of sadness is upon us all, for I can only imagine your sorrow and your grief for such a special human being. But at the same time, we feel a sense of gratitude for all the pleasure and happiness that Marilyn afforded us during her lifetime. And although it did reach the biblical maxim of 70 years and 10, in this day and age, 72 years old isn't really old. She should have had many good years left, for she had so much left to give. But we have to be grateful for the time we were given by God to walk the path of life with her. And even in death, her memory nurtures us, enabling us to blossom and fulfill our potential as we invoke the ideals and cherish the values she espoused in her life. So she will continue on by virtue of her descendants. Marilyn was born in Youngstown on August 4th, 1945, the daughter of Albert and Esther Scheinberg. Sadly, her mother passed away when she was only 3 years old. Stephen had just been born. He was only 6 weeks old. And the children were raised by Florence, who became her and Stephen's mother when she married Albert in 1953. Marilyn was always Daddy's little girl. She had such great love and affection for her father. He would watch the fights on Friday night, the Gillette Friday night fights. So he didn't go to temple. I can forgive him. And while he was watching the fights in his big easy chair, Marilyn would stand behind him. I don't know if she was 6 or 8 or 10. I'm not sure exactly how old. I guess it doesn't really matter. But she would brush his hair in the back the whole time for 15 rounds. That's love. As a teenager, she helped her dad run his two-corner grocery stores, the L&S Market on Belmont and Arlington, and also the J.D. United Grocery on Belmont and Madison. Stephen worked in the store too, And being 3 years older, Marilyn made sure that her little brother towed the line behind the meat counter. If he wasn't doing something the way Marilyn thought it should have been done, she would pinch his arm until it hurt. Stephen told me one pinch was all it took, and he got the message. Another memory of Stephen from childhood, and he told me that he and Marilyn were always very close from childhood throughout their lives. But this one particular day, and Marilyn always looked out for Steve growing up. She kind of reminds me of the biblical Miriam who took care of her little brother, a guy named Moses. Her name was Miriam as well. Anyway, there was a fight one day on the front lawn between Stephen and a friend. This supposed friend punched him in the nose. It started bleeding, and he ran towards the house crying. Marilyn saw the whole thing from the front porch, blocked her little brother from going inside, and said, "Go back out there and fight like a man." Well, a punch was thrown, and there was blood. But it wasn't the other guy who got hit, it was Marilyn. Steve, you took the easy way out. But Marilyn forgave you for that, and it did not affect your relationship. Marilyn was a good student at the esteemed Rayen High School in Youngstown. After graduating in 1963, she decided it was time to venture out on her own, to look for a different way. So she went on a bus by herself to Cleveland, and upon arrival called her cousin, Judy Scheinberg. She ended up staying with Aunt Esther in a duplex on Warrensville Center Road. She trained to become an EKG tech and worked in a doctor's office as a medical assistant. The physicians and staff became her second family. It was during this time that she met Richard, with whom she had 3 daughters, Natalie, Michelle, and Amanda. Unfortunately, the marriage didn't work out, and Marilyn found herself raising her girls, ages 12, 10, and 2, by herself. Wanting to remain a stay-at-home mom, Marilyn started a daycare center from her home, which became very successful. She made many families very happy because she was so wonderful with the babies and children. Her love and nurturing were unsurpassed. She treated every child in her daycare like one of her own. By this time, her beloved father Albert had sadly passed away at just 60 years of age. It was a great loss for Marilyn, but she weathered the storm and carried on. She was a survivor, and nothing was more important than being there for Natalie, Michelle, and Amanda. Throughout her life, Marilyn was so incredibly devoted to family. First a devoted daughter, then she became the incredible mother she was. And not only was she the amazing single mom she was while the girls were growing up, but she remained so close with each of them until the very end. Amanda told me that they talked 5 to 6 times every day about everything. And in Amanda's words, "My mom was my best friend." How can you be more successful in life than for a child to say that you were their best friend? Michelle told me that her mom was also her best friend. I guess Marilyn was pretty smart. She made each of her girls think that they were her best friend. Pretty smart. Pretty good. Michelle describes her mom as so loving and kind. And in her words, "I have tons of special memories of my mom that will never leave me." Beautiful. And when Michelle told her mom that she was about to become a grandmother of a girl, it was Michelle's first daughter, Madison, how happy and beaming with pride Marilyn was. Gave her such nachas. And Natalie was also, of course, extremely close to her mother. Natalie, the oldest, the honest one, didn't mince words, never minced words. She's the blunt one in the family. And she told me like it was. Mom came to me for advice. I was her advocate for medical matters, but it was my great pleasure to give back something for all my mom had done for me. Natalie helped her mom sort through things out and remember things in terms of medical diagnoses and medications and treatments and everything that comes with cancer patients. And when it became overwhelming for Marilyn, Natalie was there to help her pick up the pieces. Marilyn was also very close to her sons-in-law, Robert and Michael. She considered them her own boys that she never had. And she had a minion of grandchildren: Jillian, Drew, Madison, Zachary, Alden, Quinn, Chase, Hannah, Paisley, and Wyatt, all of whom she loved and cherished dearly. She was their Nana, and they were all the apples of her eye. The reward for raising 3 beautiful daughters, beautiful both inside and out, was getting to be the grandmother of 10 wonderful grandchildren, ranging in age from 1 all the way up to 22. A whole generation. Jillian and Drew spent time in the daycare center. They're the oldest 2, and they have wonderful memories of their grandmother taking care of them and the children. And on Tuesdays, Marilyn would help Amanda with her kids, and especially the new baby. Truly, she was a hands-on grandma. Marilyn would call and sing happy birthday for all of her grandchildren in her own special voice, a voice only a grandchild could love. But truly, she loved to celebrate all of her grandchildren's birthdays. Madison has a special memory of her grandma. One day, Marilyn went with her work family to see Les Mis at the Cleveland Playhouse, and all of them brought their daughters. And Madison was so proud to be included in that group. It was a special memory that she'll always hold on to. And then there was the time this past summer when everyone went to the beach in North Carolina. It was the first time the adult grandchildren and all the girls, husbands, went on vacation together. And, when they all get together, Marilyn was very funny, had a good sense of humor. She was easy to tease, and she had her share of corny jokes, too. But she always took being teased in a good way. And the family would say that one night after dinner, Marilyn said, "The food was divine." So I guess the grandchildren hooked onto this word, and all of a sudden, "Oh, Grandma, that was divine." And that became a catchword. Just a little bit of a tease, but that's really, really special, really cute. Marilyn didn't tan very well. She just got red. So I guess that was another thing to tease her about. But she took everything in stride and was always a good sport. So the food was divine on vacation, and the food was also divine for the Thanksgiving dinners that Marilyn prepared for 7 or 8 years in a row. She had all the relatives from Youngstown come up to Cleveland, and she was a great cook. Everything she made was, divine. But it had a secret ingredient. Jewish women who love to give, and I'm sure it's women from other faiths as well, but especially Jewish women. Jewish women show love through cooking food. And the special ingredient in all of Marilyn's dishes was love. And that's what made it taste so good. She set a table that Emily Post or Martha Stewart would have been jealous of. Beautiful. Out of good housekeeping. And she had a candy-making business out of her home called Creative Candies by Marilyn. She made mints for the Baricelli Inn in Cleveland. What a balabasta she was. I mean, she just could do so many things for everybody. She was a loving sister to Steve and Judy and to Michael and Barb. Michael is Albert's son from his marriage to Helen. And Steve and Marilyn had been trying to contact him for many years and without success. And one day in the early 80s, Steve was working for Vienna Sausage out of Chicago, and there was a conference in Monroeville. And for some reason, Steve decided that day he wasn't leaving town until he contacted his brother. He looked in the phone book, and he found Michael Scheinberg. He called the number. Barb answered. He said, "Hello, You're not going to believe it, but this is your brother." She said, "Michael, get the phone quick." He did, and from that moment on, they reunited, established a relationship and a connection that never waned. And some years later, when Michael had open heart surgery, Marilyn was there for him the whole time to take care of the family's needs. So they became truly bonded, as if they were brother, sister, brother from the same parents. So it was a beautiful thing that they were able to achieve. She was so very close to her cousins, Judy and Shirley, who were like sisters to her. How she always looked forward to their weekly lunch date. And she continued contact with the Yoswick family, Florence's Youngstown family. And so Marilyn always maintained and kept that connection going. She took care of Florence in her later years. And let's not forget her special canine companion, Drezzy, and all the other pets she had when she lived by herself, who she loved and who loved her in return. Marilyn was so dedicated to her family. She was the matriarch of her family. But she really was there for anyone who needed her. She was just so full of love and had a heart as big and as warm as the sun. She radiated out love, kindness, thoughtfulness, generosity, and giving to everyone she met. And that is exactly what came back to her. I found the most amazing quote in a book I picked up just a couple of days ago, which fits Marilyn to a T. It's called A Question of Existence by David Butler. It's a board book. It looks like it's for babies, but it's full of great quotes about existence. And here's one that just caught my eye from Thomas Dreier. "The world is a great mirror. It reflects back to you what you are. If you are loving, if you are friendly, if you are helpful, the world will prove loving and friendly and helpful to you. The world is what you are." Wow. That's exactly who and what Marilyn was. Loving to her family, friendly and helpful to everyone else. And that's exactly what came back to her. She was just an amazing person, someone we would all like to emulate in our own lives. Besides that indomitable spirit, she had a boundless energy which impacted on everyone she met. Her enthusiasm and zest for life was infectious. Everyone liked her. She was a special human being, indeed. Now, if you were lucky enough to count Marilyn as a friend, you were lucky enough. She just had this way about her that attracted people to her like a moth to a flame. She made many deep, lifelong friendships. Just a couple of names given to me by the family who they asked me to mention, by no means a complete list. Dr. Goller, who flew in from Chicago several times during Marilyn's illness to provide comfort and support. And Edie Acker, whose daughter Heidi and Michelle became longtime friends. So this friendship was carried to the next generation. And the Maj group, 4 gals who played together for 20 years. Marilyn, Linda Butterfield, Marcia Holderfield, and who was the 4th? Anybody? Marilyn was one, the other 2, and we're missing Marlene who? Horwitz, okay. So the 4 of them were like peas in a pod and were the best of friends. Besides family and friends, Marilyn enjoyed reading, movies, rooting for the Cavs and the Indians, but not the Browns, for she was not a masochist. I shouldn't say that today. They're playing as we speak. And going to the Palace and State Theaters for the Broadway series. She continued to work full-time until she contracted breast cancer 9 years ago and had to undergo extensive chemo and radiation treatment. We want to mention today Dr. Jan Krawinski and Dr. Bettina Reyes. They were so helpful in explaining the treatments and even going with Marilyn to doctor's appointments with her. Wow. Marilyn was in remission for 5 years until she developed uterine cancer a few years ago. And about a year ago, the cancer had metastasized to her hip. but she never once railed against the injustice of her affliction. She never complained, "Why me?" but simply fought the good fight so she could remain with her loved ones as long as possible. She at times questioned if she was doing it right, but make no mistake, this woman was a paragon of hope, strength, and courage. At the very end, she had her family beside her. They literally camped out in her hospice room. Despite being under heavy sedation, she knew you were all there. She felt your love. She understood that you were giving her permission, despite how hard it was for you to do so, permission to let go and be lifted up by the wings of Shekhinah, the divine presence, to the next world, where she is now reunited with her beloved father and two mothers, as well as all the pets she cared for and loved. It's a place called the Olam Haba, the world to come, where the soul or spirit, if not the body, of a person continues to live on with God. It's a beautiful place, a peaceful place, where no harm or hurt befalls anyone. So I speak to the family in saying, take comfort in this belief that your beloved Marilyn, your dear mother, grandmother, sister, cousin, aunt, and friend, is looking down upon you at this very moment and might very well be saying to all of you, when I am gone, release me, let me go. I have so many things to see, and so you mustn't tie yourself to me with tears. Be happy that we had so many beautiful years. I gave you my love. You can only guess how much you gave me in happiness. I thank you for the love that each of you have shown. But now it's time that I traveled on alone. So grieve for me for a while, if grieve you must. Then let your grief be comforted by trust. It's only for a while that we must part, so bless the memory within your heart. I won't be far away, for life goes on. So if you need me, call, and I will come. Though you can't see or touch me, I'll be near. And if you listen with your heart, you'll hear all my love around you, soft and clear. And then, when you must come this way alone, I'll greet you with a smile and say, welcome home. May Marilyn's memory be for an eternal blessing, Zichrona Livracha. May she rest in peace forevermore. And let us say, Amen. I'd now like to call upon her daughter, Amanda, who'd like to say a few words, who will be followed by her brother, Stephen, and then her sister-in-law, Barbara.
Some of my mom's final words were, I lived a wonderful life, and I love my family. In her final hours, with tears streaming down her face, she turned to me and said, I think I'm dying, but I'm not sure because I've never done this before. Being a Nana of 10 was her greatest joy. She had such a special bond with each of her grandchildren. There is no doubt that she was the leader of this family. Mom, I don't know how to thank you for all that you've given me. Thank you for working so hard to provide the best life that you could. For all the sacrifices that you made that didn't mean anything until I was an adult. Thank you for loving me through my countless mistakes, for being there to answer millions of phone calls regardless of the day or time. Thank you for encouraging me and pushing me and never giving up on me. Thank you for everything. I've always been told that I was a lot like you. I could have done without the double chin and clotting disorder, but other than that, I'm proud to be like you. You helped mold me into the mom I am today. You were hardworking and driven. You pushed through the hard parts and kept going. I admire you. I'm proud of the fight that you fought and the life that you lived. Thank you for everything you taught me and the memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life. For the last 33 hours that you were with us, I never left your side. I have to believe that you could hear us and that you felt our hands in yours. And I hope that you weren't scared. I love you and I'll miss you so much.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here this afternoon and for celebrating Marilyn's life. We lost a real fighter, a woman who had so much spirit, so much love of family and friends. It is truly a sad day, but a day where we start to mend and heal. Now, I could stand here for a really long time telling you brother and sister stories, but I'm pretty sure we all want to get home before the World Series begins. I would like to read to you a short poem that I think Marilyn would have composed herself. That's the difference. As many of you know from prior experience, she wrote and read many of them over the years, many poems. I read this with so much love for my dear, dear sister. And if it sounds familiar, it's because the rabbi just read it. But it warrants reading again. When I am gone, release me, let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You must not tie yourself to me with tears. Be happy that I have had so many years. I gave you my love. You can only guess how much you gave me in happiness. I thank you for the love each of you has shown, but now it's time I travel alone. So grieve a while for me, if grieve you must. Then let your grief be comforted by trust. It is only for a while that we must part. So bless the memories in your heart. I will not be far away, for life goes on. So if you need me, call, and I will come. Though you cannot see me or touch me, I will be near. All of my love around you, soft and clear. Then when you must come this way alone, I will greet you with a smile and a welcome home. Gonna miss you, sister.
Now you all know why the rabbi speaks first. But seriously, I have to be honest. Out of all the, I do all these readings, and sometimes people will come up and say, Rabbi, that one reading you did, could you send me a copy of it? No reading is more, and I'm glad you got to hear it twice, because it is a reading that's worth repeating. It's beautiful, and if any of you would like a copy, see me, give me your email, give Steve your email, we'll get you a copy. It's so poignant, and I'm glad you got to hear it a second time. It's worth it. Barb?
Hi, I came to say a few words about my sister-in-law, who was more a sister than anything. As we look at the tree of life, we always will remember that Marilyn was the strongest branch from that tree. Every ounce of her being has been passed on to her daughters. She's kind, courageous, loving, passionate, and her daughters share all those qualities. When I was with them for the hours that their mom was in the hospital, they showed so much strength and so much compassion for each other as well as for Marilyn. They're very wise, her daughters, and mature, and when arrangements had to be made, they knew exactly what to do. I took a back seat, and they had everything done. And Marilyn's grandchildren share the same love, compassion, and lust for life that their Nana taught them as well. Marilyn will be deeply missed. She'll always live in everyone's heart that's here today. because she had a way to touch those that she knew. Rest in peace, my dear sister.
Please rise now for the El Mole Rachamim. El Mole Rachamim, Shochen Mamaromim, Amtsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanafei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utorim, Kizohar Hakiyam Azhirim, Et Nishmat Miriam, Bat Avraham ve'Esther, Shehalcha le'olama, Ba'al Rachamim Yasterei B'Seiter Kanafav le'olamim, Vitzrora Bitrorcha Chaim et Nishmata, Adonai hu nachlata, V'tanuach b'shalom, Al Mishkava v'namar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Marilyn Freeman, Miriam Bat Avraham ve'Esther, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Would you please be seated? After I read each phrase, please complete it with the words, "We remember her." At the rising of the sun and at its going down, at the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, at the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, at the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, at the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, when we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have joys we yearn to share, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, when we have achievements that are based on hers. As long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. Our service will continue with interment at the cemetery. Thank you all so much for being here to honor Marilyn's memory today.